All right. If you guys can hear me, say hello. We're gonna need some assistance in terms of music mastering, okay? It is very important so we can get this all, hooked up. You know what I'm saying? Welcome. Hi, it's your boy AnimatedBreak in the area, aka AG Moosey, in the building, and I hope you guys are doing excellent, happy, and you're all smiles. Lucy, is that you? Lucy, is that you? Lucy, is that you?
Of course it is.
Hi. Everyone say hi, Lucy. Ladies and gentlemen, today marks. Mark is probably like, marks the day. The one day after the epic, the most fun, excellent game for the Nintendo Switch. We'd like to call it Relic Hunters Zero. Now available, this is Canadian dollars, but it is available now. The looter shooter game of the century, where you run around and you shoot things, getting rid of the Dukons, and collecting these mystical relics of power to protect the universe. Guys, let me tell you something. We were excited to announce its epic release the other day, and I am so pleased to be a part of the launch, and here we are. Like, seriously, here we are, ready to show you guys a few of the features and a few of the things that, give you a taste of the gameplay. But listen, it's not just going to be gameplay, because that's boring. It's just me playing the game. We have someone special. We actually have the creator of Relic Hunters. His name is Mark Venturelli. Fantastically talented man. You gotta go say hi to him. But how to say hi to him? Better yet, by taking him off mute and saying, "It's you!" Hello.
Hello.
Hello. That is the man with the plan. That is Mark. I probably want to get let me see if I can get you a little bit up here. Let me see. Boom. All right, Mark, say hello.
Hi, this is Mark saying hello.
Can you guys hear him?
Is this good enough?
I hope so.
Loud?
Is it loud? David, can you hear him? Did you hear him? Hopefully, and the music is nice too. We got to make sure, because the voice from the other world, we can hear him now. Yup, perfect. And music is okay, or there's no music? Everyone say hi, Indie Davo. That is David. He's like, I call him Proud Dad. Because every now and again, we know, I know you're proud of me. It's okay. But that is David from Akupara Games. Everyone say hello, David. The music, everything seems good. I haven't heard anyone complain yet, so that means that must be a good thing, Mark. How are you today?
I'm doing great. We just released a game on the Switch. It's amazing, man. And it's not only like a game that I made, it's a game that I programmed, which is, it is kind of insane. If you tell me way back then that I would code something and now it runs in Nintendo hardware, that's crazy. Because I really don't know what I'm doing. In terms of programming, it's not really my thing.
Trust me, I know that feeling all too well, because I know that when it comes to programming, in general, right? Because I came from like a web design-esque background, man, I knew the basics, and even then, like, doing the endless Google search to find that one statement to make the whole thing work was horrendous. And now imagine trying to do that with your project that was like essentially your love child. Like, you made this out of passion, and then seeing it ported to like a completely different system for the first time must be like really insane.
Yeah, it's crazy, and also kind of sharing it, because like we were talking before, we actually went live, right?
Yeah.
Akupara brought, like, you guys brought your own ideas and your own aesthetics to it as well, and it's really interesting to see, like, first being able to trust you guys to do like a good work, and you did. Like, the game looks really awesome on the Switch, and there's a lot of new stuff, and I really like it. There's also the fact that for the last 5 years or so, since the Relic Hunters franchise started, we're now going to free games, right? It's gonna be Relic Hunters Zero Remix. Later down the year, gonna have Relic Hunters Rebels, and later Relic Hunters Legend. There's different games and different platforms, and it's just been a process of taking that thing that was very much like a personal thing for me and Betu when we first started out. It was a game that we made for us, right? We didn't make it for anybody else. And as it started to grow and became this community-driven thing, and like there are more people coming in, Rogue Snail is now almost 20 people. And, we might be like 30 people by the end of the year, as things are going right now. And it has been a process of opening up and sharing Relic Hunters with everybody else, not only the community and now our team, but also now you guys as well. And just different people bringing in their view and their interpretation of what Beto and I first came up with, and that's super cool, super awesome to see as an artist, you know.
So when you guys were creating this game, right? And I mentioned this when we were showing this off at PAX, and one of my personal favorite, aesthetics of the game itself is I get a huge Samurai Jack, Gendy. Targanovsky from this, and we spoke about this for a bit. What kind of was going through your minds when you were creating the characters? Was that intended? Was that something that you said, yeah, we want to go in this direction, or it just happened?
That was all Betsu in terms of the characters, and there's the game.
Yeah.
And I mean, here in Brazil, we have so many different influences. It's such a growing up, especially my generation, Beto's generation, we're 30 years old.
Right.
Our generation just grew up with morning cartoons on TV, and they were very diverse. We would get on a straight sequence, one after the other. We would watch the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And then, I don't know, Rugrats, and then it would get Super Sentai, Changeman.
Right.
And then it would get the Power Rangers. and then it would get Dragon Ball Z and other anime, And we would watch all of these things one after the other on a morning, right? And for us, they were all cartoons.
Right.
We did not have any distinction oh no, this is American and this is Japanese and this is live action. It's everything is cartoons. And we just grew up on that, and I think that a lot of the style that Beto has developed for the characters and the style of Relic Hunters comes from this mix. A friend of mine actually called this Brazilian anime.
Brazilian anime.
The style that Beto the style that Beto draws, because it's kind of weird. It's a Cartoon Network. There's Japanese influences as well. There's a lot of stuff going on. And I think that's what gives it this unique flavor and style. But it's not something that was engineered with any kind of intention. It was just a natural thing for Beto to draw.
Right. So what I kind of got from this was, overall, this was never intended for people. You made it, you guys liked it, and then it ended up, I guess... Here's the question. How did it end up getting into other people's hands? Did it just word of mouth? Did you ended up just saying, hey, do you guys want to check this game out or test it, and then people ended up liking it? Or how did that end up getting public limelight after the fact that you wanted to keep this amongst yourselves?
Yeah, I mean, it was a game jam, right? So usually when you do a game jam, for people who are not familiar with those, is when game developers get together for usually 48 hours, but it may vary. And we're trying to make a little game, and that's it, in a very, very limited time frame. So you do you hack code, you do crazy stuff, you try new ideas, and you do small things, right? You do something that your expectations are, I'm gonna have fun with this, I'm gonna make this for myself, we're gonna have a good time, we're gonna experiment some new stuff, and by the end of the 48 hours, we're gonna never touch this again, and nobody probably is gonna play it. So that's how it usually goes. So Relic Hunters Zero started like that, and we just wanted to keep working on it. So the next weekend we said, let's keep working on that game, make it a little bit more complete, and then the next weekend, you know what, let's do a little bit, one more weekend, and that's one more weekend. And And at that time, we were working full time on Chroma Squad, right?
Oh yes.
At Behold Studio. Yeah. So that was our full-time gig, right? So this is just for fun. And we were like, man, like this is taking a lot of time. It's starting to get kind of serious. Let's release this because it's too big now not to release and let people play it because I think it's pretty fun. And,
Right.
But let's not charge any money. Like let's do freeware. Let's do open source. Let's just keep this open for everybody to play and to share and do whatever they want. Mainly because we were busy with Chroma Squad and we really didn't want to, honestly, to support the game. Like when you release a game, as you know, we just released a game yesterday. There's so much that goes into just supporting it and doing, like helping customers out and fixing bugs and just doing patches and like making the game better and making it compatible with whatever controller people are using. It's a lot of work, and we just didn't have that time. We were working in Chroma Squad.
How many people were you at that point in time?
Just me and Batu and Miller, who did the sound design. Right?
Wait. There's only 4 of you? And then
only 2.5. It's just me, Batu, and Miller who did the sound design. That's it. And Miller just did it really quickly and never touched it again.
wow.
And yeah, and after that it was just me. Like Batu, like most of the updates I did by myself. They didn't feature like almost any new art. Some of the new assets I did myself. Sometimes Batu would just draw random stuff, and I would try and figure out, oh, this could be something like this in the game, and I would put it in.
Right.
But it wasn't like this, right? That's how it went. And so we just released it for free. There were no expectations. We're just having a lot of fun. We wanted to release it because it got too big not to. It was like way beyond the original Game Jam version.
Right.
And then you're kind of in the corner there. Watch out.
Yeah, I'm in the corner.
Oh my God.
And wait, Admix, gonna stream this. Love it's coming to the Switch also. It's already out on the Switch. It released yesterday.
Yeah.
That's the big news, my man.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
out. It's out. It's ready to be bought
You can play it.
right now. And oh my gosh, Conrad, could you please get yourself modded? Goodness, it hurts. Hey, look, the whole Akupara crew is here. You know, we have people from the community hanging out. You know, I recognize everyone. Recursive Butts, it's good to see you, homeboy. Good to see you. And guys, if you guys are not aware, Mark Venturelli is in. He's the guy talking right now. He is I'm talking right now, but the guy that was talking is indeed the maker of this wonderful game, and we really are excited that and truly honored that we had a chance to work on this. And it feels good to play. I was playing this on my Switch the other day, and even now it feels good. Like it looks good. It's pretty. You know what I mean? With the color gamut on the Switch itself. My God. Like, it feels and plays good. Like, it belongs there. And I just got one of the relics, and this is one of my favorite relics, and I don't want to give it away. I think I better stay on this account. Yeah, you should. Tons of new features. Absolutely. That is why we have told everyone what the main highlight about this game being on Switch is. The fact that the character sprites are different. The fact that we have a flippin' awesome soundtrack. Like, shout out to Kat Arthur. That girl, she just poured her heart and soul into it and like revolutionized this whole like soundtrack. And I think you guys could agree that you guys think it's super
Dope.
Oh yeah, man. Like Cats is just so talented.
Oh my
Like,
God.
we were blown away.
Recursive Butts is Kath Arthur. I didn't know. I told you. Now this is proof that I love you, and I didn't even know. I didn't even pretend. You see what I did? See that? That's a legit. That was me not knowing who you are, and I hammed you up. Boy, anime.
Cats is on the chat right now. Cat is on the chat.
Yeah, Recursive Butts.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, Cats, what's up? Yeah, man, like you did such a great job on the soundtrack. We were just blown away. We really loved the original soundtrack from Go to 80. It was a Creative Commons soundtrack that we used way back then. That's how we were able to actually have a soundtrack, a complete soundtrack for the game in the first place. So one of the first things we talked to Akupara, and when they said they wanted to release on the Switch, we said, well, we cannot use the Creative Commons soundtrack, right? Even though we love that, and it's such a big part of the identity of the game. And Dave from Akupara said, oh, we have this really talented composer. She could write a whole new soundtrack for the game. What do you think? I said, yeah, sure, let's give it a try. And honestly, I think I like the new one way more than I like the previous one. Like, it's just so good. It's really, really good.
Yes, yes, yes. Cat, I told you, girl. Like, we remember when she, first showed us her take on the main theme, right? And she goes, here's my direction. What do you guys think? And I'm just like, did you make this? And she goes, yeah. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then hearing you guys embrace it, and it being a part of your universe now makes me so happy. Like, really a huge shout out. We're so blessed to have such incredible talent, amongst us, right? You being the maker of Relic Hunters, we have great team at Akupara. Like, there's just so much talent, and then having it all come together in this game, I couldn't feel any more lucky, to be able to do that.
Super cool. It's really super cool. And I was just talking, like, before I joined the stream, I was just talking with a Brazilian journalist about Relic Hunters and the Switch launch, stuff like that. And he asked me a really interesting question, which was, what do you think it's unique about this game? Like, what do you think it's like what makes this game Relic Hunters, right? And I say, well, it's not a very innovative game. We never intended to be, like I said. Like, it was something that we was making for fun. And we just wanted to, like, put everything that we like from video games, like a love letter to video games, everything that we enjoy, we put it in. So it never tried to be an innovative game.
Right.
But what I think it has, it's not just one feature or one thing or one gimmick that I say, oh, this is new, this is what makes the game Relic Hunters. It's kind of the whole soul of the game. It's like the character design, it's the art, it's the style, it's the feel of playing it. And it's also the sound and the music. Everything comes together to create kind of this atmosphere and this style that I think is very Relic Hunters. It's very unique. And the new soundtrack, I feel it definitely captures that essence of the energy and the vibe of Relic Hunters for sure.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And the fact that this game is so high octane, but so, like, you look at it, right? You look at this overall visually, right? Visually, this game is kind of disarming. You know what I mean? You look at it, it's kind of innocent in its way. Your characters look kind of serious and badass, but then you go around and you start picking up these flippin' powerful ass weapons, and then you're just mowing through these enemies like nothing, right? Was it something that you always had in mind, where it was like, I know this is gonna probably answer my question. You answered my question further before, but kind of moving back, was it always supposed to be a cute game, and you wanted it to be like highly violent?
Yeah, for sure. No. It was always supposed to be a cute game. I think this is something that Beto and I, like I said, we were not doing this game for anybody else. Because this is something that game developers do. When you're a professional game developer, you're not making stuff for yourself, right? Not only to yourself. So usually what you're looking for, it's something that is like the Venn diagram of 3 circles, right? The first circle is, what do I want to do? What do I like? Right? What do I enjoy? Because ultimately, especially as indie developers, we're never going to work in something that we don't like and we don't believe. But it also has to be something that we can do, something that it's within our capabilities, right? As well, like, is this something that I'm good at? Is this something that I'm on average like better than other game developers, right? Can I stand out doing something like this? And the third thing is, are people gonna like this? Can I sell this? Can I make a living off of this?
Right.
So when you're a professional game developer, as Beto and I have been for like 12 years now, you're always thinking on these terms, right? And for Relic Hunters, we just were worried about what we like. That's it. Because it wasn't supposed to be a product, right? It wasn't supposed to be something that was meant to be sold and make money and stuff like that. So we just did whatever we thought was cool and fun. So definitely being cute is something that me and Beto really enjoy. Beto is very much like a cartoon artist. This also a style that I like very much. Like I'm a little baby. I get scared playing like dark and gritty games.
Like horror games, right? And the jump scares, right?
And honestly, it took me years to finally understand and admit this because of, I don't know, toxic masculinity or something like that. No, I'm a man.
I'm a man. I'm not nothing but
like
freaks me out.
Dudes with guns, you know, and dark blood and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it took me a while to figure out. For example, I have never finished like 100% on New Game Plus or anything like that, any Souls games. And it's
really?
not because and it took me a while to understand why. I was just not motivated. Like I would play and start really enjoy it and really get into it and try hard and beat the boss and stuff like that.
Right.
But as time went on, I was just not, whenever I would sit down and let's play a game, I was just not feeling it, right? I was just like, I don't know, I don't feel like playing like Bloodborne right now. I think I'm gonna play something else. And it always happens, always happens. And I started to figure out that it wasn't Souls games. I started to figure out that every time like it's a really dark and gritty and a bloody and heavy atmosphere,
it brings your mood down.
It started to wear down. It started to wear down on me. Like I started to realize that these kinds of games, they start to make me like uncomfortable.
Right.
And like cute and colorful games or more cartoony games, I could play for like years and never get tired of. And it's something that maybe Diablo is the the exception there because I'm a huge Diablo nerd. I can play the game forever, never get tired of that. But that's because of the loot and the RPG systems. I really don't care about the atmosphere of Diablo at all. Yeah, like it took me a while to, I think, have the maturity to figure out what I like, right? And I like colorful and cute and bright colors and like these tiny little monsters with like big mouths.
Yeah,
and like
how'd you come up with these guys, eh? Like, so the commies, Cammy, or how do you say their names? The little doggies. Mark?
Yeah, it's Kami.
Okay, you know what? How'd you come up with the concept of these? Well, like, what? Why specifically a dog that looks the way it? Like, who came up with the concept?
Batu. Yeah, that's Batu.
So
I don't know. Like Batu is an artist, man. Like he's a full artist. He's not like a art designer or like a character designer. He's like a full artist. You can't control him. Beto does what Beto's gonna do, you know. Like it's what I like about him the most, actually working together, because I'm very much a design oriented kind of guy.
Right.
So everything that I do has like a system, has like a reason to it, has an end goal, has like multiple like working parts and holistic thinking. Like that's kind of my style of doing creative stuff. And Beto is just like, whatever, I did this thing.
Yeah, no, look, and
that's what I was feeling.
Chris
and
mentioned
it really worked well.
Yeah, Chris mentioned that it could be coming from the Japanese word for wolf, which makes sense.
We just found out. We found that out afterwards.
Oh. Like
Ref Miller, who did the soundtrack, the sound design for this game, and is doing the sound design and soundtrack for Legends. His wife is Japanese. He speaks fluent Japanese.
Oh, cool.
And after the kami were already done and already in the game, he said, "Oh, I really love that you guys named it kami because it means like wolf or bites in Japanese." And I was like, "Really?"
We didn't know that.
I didn't know that. It was just random.
And speaking of which, wait, you said the name of the guy who did the music is Ref, and you just so happen to have a character named Ref.
That's not an accident.
That is not an accident.
Beto actually created Ref as a thank you for Ref Miller to make the sounds of the game for us, because it was just like I said, it wasn't a commercial game, so we never paid him for it. And he just did it because, well, he liked the game and he liked us. And Beto created Raph as kind of a thank you to him, right? It was inspired by him.
That is cool. And so Raph's weapon is a keytar. Does Raph IRL have a keytar?
He wishes he had one.
Oh my gosh. Because all the characters have a unique weapon, it seems.
Yeah. In Relic Hunters Zero, every character has their own unique thing, except Ace.
Yeah, Ace. Okay, tell me a little bit about Ace. You have this character that seems to be like the guy that's always like, I'm the fearless leader, but he's kind of like comedic relief. Because his stats are all like shafted. He doesn't shoot straight. How did you?
But he's secretly the best character in the game for me, at least, because he's bad at every gun. He has low life. He has no special weapons. He's the worst character, right? But he has luck, and what that means in the game is that when you play Ace, you actually have a higher chance of getting relics. You actually have a higher chance of getting chests. Enemies drop more money, which is really useful on endless mode and storm mode and stuff like that.
Right. And
you get a higher chance of getting like better loot overall. So especially endless mode and storm mode, I think Ace is the actual best character. He's harder, of course, because his mechanics are the works between all of the characters.
Yes.
But he scales a lot, like because he drops so much more rare loot and he gets so much more resources. He starts to just fly, you know. He takes off and just like it's like playing mage on D&D, you know.
Oh, the glass cannon.
Like really weak. Sorry.
So the term is glass cannon, where you're a cannon, so you do high damage, but you could just easily just get broken and die.
Yeah, but it's not only that. Like you can actually you start really weak. You're not a glass cannon, you're just glass. And but if you survive the early game, you're actually gonna ramp up a lot faster than the other characters. So you're gonna become a lot more powerful, and then you become just cannon, no glass.
Okay, and that's cool. And so he does eventually fill that leadership role pretty much later on, air quotes.
For sure, yeah.
I love it.
And which is the leadership thing is interesting because when we started Relic Hunters Zero, of course there was no intention of creating the Relic Hunters Universe, right?
Right.
Creating the whole IP and the backstory and everything. So Ace was just like a comic relief character, and the idea was that he was kind of the leader, and he was kind of an asshole. His original name was actually Ass, and not Ace.
I remember that.
Because Ass is donkey, right?
Yeah.
Ass is a word for donkey. And his name was Ass, and that's his whole personality. And it was just a funny thing. We wanted somebody to give you the tutorial and to just be like an ass to you as you play the game.
Love it.
So as the game evolved, right? He wasn't even a playable character. He was not meant to be a playable character. This was something that we added afterwards because of community feedback. Like people, hey, I want to play Ace. Why can't I play Ace? S actually at that time. And we made him a playable character. In fact, he's the only character, if you notice, when you get to the ship in the beginning, you see that there's no pedestal for him.
Right.
And there is no instructions on how to unlock him. So you have to actually figure out what you have to do to unlock Ace.
Right.
So that's why he wasn't originally a playable character in the game. But turns out that people really like this character that they were meant to hate. And he started to change. First thing was, for example, we had people were asking us to do Steam trading cards and Steam emotes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we did it, and then we had one emote on Steam for each character, right? Pinky had at the time was Puni. Now she's named Panzer.
I love Panzer.
We had Ass. Yeah, and we had Ass. So because the word Ass is also like a curse word in English, right? It's not only the name for donkey.
That's right.
That actually caused some issues for us with Valve, right? So we had to change it. And then we changed it to 8, right?
Okay.
But and I think that was the turning point for us when we changed his name to Ace, and people were just loving him, and he was now a playable character. We started to give him a little bit more love, you know. And now on the comics and on Relic Hunters Legend, you can see that he has a different personality. He's still kind of an asshole sometimes.
Of course.
But he's a really nice guy overall, and he does belong on the Relic Hunters, and they're like a family, and he's more nice now on the official lore of the game. So Relic Hunters Zero overall, now that we have the Relic Hunters universe and we have comics, we have animation, we have 2 more games coming up. Relic Hunters Zero fits in a kind of a weird place in there. Oh, you died.
Yeah, I sure did.
No.
You know what? I think it's time to bring out the big guns.
Yeah.
My favorite character.
Panzer.
Yo, Panzer is my home skillet. Panzer is Jimmy's sister?
Yes, she's Jimmy's sister. That's funny enough. That was always canon. Like,
right.
When Beto designed her, for no reason, just said, "Oh, she's Jimmy's little sister." I said, "Okay," and that's it, right? So that has always been that. There was not something that was retconned afterwards.
Okay. Hey, can someone log on to the Akupara account and give Lucy, the Relic Hunters guys, just VIP, and then they won't get timed out anymore. But yes. One thing I actually did enjoy is Red. How did Red come about, and what specifically did Red bring to the table afterwards? You find overall.
So Red is also really interesting because she's not a release character. When the game officially released the first version, Red wasn't in the game. Red was added as a new character, I believe, on the first major update when we added Endless Mode. I think that's when we added Red as a playable character. So she was not part of the original Relic Hunters. And her origin, in terms, it was just Beto drawing something that he wanted to do. Like, hey, I drew this chick riding a kami, and I want her to throw Pokeballs, and the Pokeballs bring kami out of them. I was, hell yeah, I'm gonna do that. He drew it. He drew Red and the sprites for the game and the animations. I put him in like a week. I just hacked around a way for her to summon kami and stuff like that. It was just super funny. Originally, my intention was to limit the amount of kami to like 5 that you could summon at the same time. And when they had more than 5, I would just despawn the oldest ones and spawn new ones, right?
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, but first I was testing performance, right? I made this code really quickly for her to summon kami, and I was looking forward to see like, well, how much stress is this putting on the CPU from just adding a lot of kami? And because of the way that Game Maker Studio is programmed, this is actually very cheap. And the way that I was doing it was not that bad, even though I did it very quickly. It was a pretty decent way of doing it. So I was testing out. I said, let's put 10. Oh, that's okay. There's no impact on performance. Let's put 20. Oh, okay. Still the same frame rate. Okay, let's try 100. And then it was still okay. Like it went down for like 5-6 frames per second. I was still way above 60, and I would say, okay, there's not gonna be any limits to how many you can summon. So yeah. That was it. It was just so funny, and that just goes to show as well. Like we were not really worried about let's make like really fine-tuned game balance or anything like that. We're just trying to have fun, right?
Right.
I say, yeah, she's gonna summon infinite kami. That's what she's gonna do, and that I think that's one of the reasons why people really love her, because she's so broken.
She is, and you know what?
So broken.
people have been saying like they really like the Vincent, feel that they see from like Final Fantasy, where it was like she's like a mysterious badass, and that's what they kind of equated her to. I like that.
Yeah.
What a good comparison.
I find it so amazing, and that's completely like on Batu. Like that's totally a merits from Batu, because we came up with some of these concepts, right?
Yeah.
For example, Red really is like a mysterious kind of outsider character. She's not a friend of the Relic Hunters. She is not a friend of the Dukans either. So they kind of fights a common enemy, right?
Correct.
But she's like a neutral character. She's not good or evil. In the Relic Hunters universe, and we decided that, but there's nothing in the game that tells you that, right? In Relic Hunters Zero, just nothing, and people just got that just from the design of the character and how it moved and skills and stuff like that. And just for the fact that she was like covering her face up, she was different from the other hunters. She was riding a kami, which is something that the other Relic Hunters all have to fight. So for example, when you're a normal Relic Hunter, any of the other Relic Hunters, and you break the kami cage like this one in front of you, the kamis that are gonna come out of the cage, they're gonna be pissed off at you as well as the Dukans, right? They're gonna just attack everybody.
They just kill everyone.
If you're red and you free the kami from the cage, they become your friends.
Yeah.
So there's like through gameplay, we kind of told the story, you know, and people kind of got it. That was really interesting for us to see, because there was no intention to telling this story in the game. It was something that we decided for ourselves. But people actually caught up on it just because of gameplay and visual design.
Well,
and, this is something that is really, really cool.
Well, here's the thing. She kind of has a striking, like, in terms of, like, just eyes, right? I'm wondering if there's room for her being, you know, a long-lost cousin or friend of the Relic Hunters, and she's been low-key affiliated with them the entire time.
Well, she's gonna be in Relic Hunters Legend.
Yep.
And Relic Hunters Legend is a full-fledged RPG. There's a lot of story, there are cutscenes, dialogue.
Yep.
So Relic Hunters Legend is a much more story-driven game. So everybody's gonna have a chance to actually find out about Red and her background and her personality and stuff like that, and how she relates to the Relic Hunters. It's gonna be pretty awesome.
Yeah, we have Solid Productions in here. Hey, buddy, good to see you. Thank you for like hitting me up about, you know, Relic Hunters and whatnot. Fantastic YouTube channel and funny guy. I like you. Your production value is ridiculous. We also have AnimatedBreak in here. Hi, man. I hope you're doing excellent, dude. Like, we have a whole family here just excited about your game, and I just want to let you know that, like, me even personally playing this game, getting introduced to it when I started at Akupara, and like even Star Vikings, you had like someone do music. Star Vikings.
Yeah, it was Ref Miller.
Oh, was that him?
Miller who did. Yeah.
You're so dope. I lost my mind. I'm just like, he kind of.
Miller. Fun fact. I've been making games for 12 years, and Miller is the only sound designer and composer that ever worked on any of my games. Now Cat is the second one.
Yeah, Cat.
Because I only worked with Miller my entire career in every single game.
Oh my gosh, was he singing? Do you know? Like
no, he wasn't singing.
Oh.
No. There was like a.
Of course you would know, but
actual metal singer. Yeah. A professional metal singer from Germany, I think.
If I could find out who that is, because I am, let me tell you, I'm a huge.
Yeah, I don't know it top of my head right now, because that was all Miller who hired the guy and directed the guy. But yeah, he can probably tell us the name of the singer.
If it's someone I know, I will flip the heck out. You just don't understand. Like, huge fan of you know, any sort of power metal, and I heard it and I thought, you guys did good here. I think the only other game that touted that was Slain, and if you know who Slain, the guys at Slain had Victor from Celtic Frost. So the fact that you had this fun, bright, happy-go-lucky game tout metal soundtrack, it was well done.
Yeah, Star Vikings is a pretty interesting game. Well, this is a Relic Hunters stream. I think we could have a whole stream just to talk about the story behind Star Vikings development. It's a really interesting game in my career. I'm really proud of it, even though it's probably my least successful game financially. My wife still says that it's the best game that I have ever made. She loves Star Vikings. It was actually the only game. It's the only game from my career that I got a game design award on, because every other game that I did, I was never recognized in awards as a game designer. Star Vikings actually was. We got 2 awards for game design for Star Vikings. But yeah, it's a crazy game. There's a reason why it's so crazy. It's a really interesting development history that game has. But I think that's a story for another day.
Absolutely. The reason why I brought it up is because, you know, with Star Vikings and all your other titles, it brought you to what you have now. You know what I mean? And I think fantastic where you've come from with, you know, Star Vikings and Chroma Squad, and then, you know, then you just created this universe. It's really insane. And I've always been, you know, you and I are around the same age. I mean, I grew up with Power Rangers, man. I grew up with Samurai Jack and Powerpuff Girls, and I see, like, you know, bits and pieces of my childhood in a game, and you made it 8-bit, and now it's on Nintendo Switch, and now I can take it wherever I want, and I can play with a friend. You know, I think there's so much, like, going on with the universe right now, and then now having a mobile port, and now having a brand new, you know, revamped universe for, you know, with Legends.
Yeah, it's not gonna be a mobile port though. It's a completely new game. It's called Relic Hunters Rebels. It has a lot of influence from Relic Hunters Zero. There's a lot of things that team took from Relic Hunters Zero, but it's a completely new game for mobile.
Sorry, I kind of what I meant, but we got to get the language right. But I think Sorry, game developers. They always get caught on the terms. You know what? I should know better. I'm marketing, so nobody quote me on that, okay?
One eternity
Okay.
later.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But shame. Don't shame me. You love me. I'm fantastic. But it is actually really cool. Right down to, you know, the sayings you use in industry, to the people you met. Like, PAX was a fine example of how we're all in it together and we're all making cool things. I think what my next question would be is, when you were introducing your games to the, you know, the industry at large, right? So we're talking about other developers and such. Did you ever have any, like, pushback or people saying, no, this is never gonna hit off? Like, did you get the naysayers? Like, did you prove them wrong?
Relic Hunters?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so, because like I said, there was never any ambition. So we're not trying to prove anything with this game. So I guess it was kind of the opposite. It was like we've been constantly surprised by people taking the game very seriously, right? For example, I remember me and Betsu, we were in GDC, I think, in 2016, something like that, San Francisco.
Right.
And we were at a party after GDC somewhere where people had their games up and on different computers and stuff like that, showing off.
Oh, maybe the mix?
And there was a game there which was like a top-down shooter as well. It looked a bit like Relic Hunters, but it was pretty different. Different design style and goals and stuff like that. But we saw a lot of stuff that was really looked like Relic Hunters Zero, especially like the crosshair and like small things like that. And we were curious and we're just checking it out. And the developer came to us and said, "Are you guys the Relic Hunters guys?" And we said, yeah. And they said, oh, we love the game. Like, it really inspired us to make this game.
Oh,
and we're like, are people actually, like, not only playing and liking the game, but also, like, it's influencing new games?
You're inspiring people?
Yeah, that was just, we were just constantly surprised by the reach of this game. Like, people that we never imagined. For example, I went to Kuala Lumpur in 2018,
right?
Malaysia. Right?
Yeah.
And I met the game developers there, and people were like massive fans of Relic Hunters. And they wanted to take pictures of me, and I was like, what? What the hell? Nobody ever wanted to take a picture with me in Brazil. Why do you like Relic Hunters so much?
Oh.
And it was just amazing to see the reach that this game has across borders and across cultures. Just crazy.
Yeah, I think with this game, it's its own. Oh, I just got the automatic shotgun. It's my favorite gun in the game.
That's really good. It feels so good.
Just mowing kids down. What mic am I using to stream? It's the Shure SM7B. One of my favorite mic. It's my favorite mic in the entire world. It's good. Expensive though, but good. Totally worth it. Let me see. What else? Did I miss anything? And the game is already on sale already. Yeah, man. Don't even. Flying dudes remind me of the bouncing knights in the first Zelda game? Heck yeah. You know,
Hot dog, I love you.
it is fantastic.
Did you know, trivia time, did you know that Relic Hunters is, especially Relic Hunters Legend, was originally very heavily inspired by the original Zelda? Like, that's actually why the game is named Relic Hunters Legend.
Oh.
So the very first iteration, the very first like version of Relic Hunters Legends was actually a single player open world game inspired by the original Legend of Zelda. So we changed that really quickly because people were very clearly telling us that they wanted the game to be online. They said, we want an online game, we want to play a looter shooter kind of game. That's what our fans wanted from the community.
Mm-hmm.
So we quickly pivoted away from open worlds, single player, to kind of shooter looter multiplayer mission kind of structure. But the name was already there, so Relic Hunters Legend, so that's why it's called that.
I'm really getting the Doom references a little bit with, you know, as your character starts to die, their face looks even worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, that's for sure a Doom reference. Yeah.
My goodness, I really ate that up as soon as I saw it. I'm like, oh yeah. I remember, like, you just progressively look worse and worse and worse.
Like, the funny thing is that the vast majority of gameplay influences that we had for this game were first-person shooters, actually. Like, when we started out, like in 2015, when we made earlier than that, actually, late 2014, when we made the Game Jam,
right.
The first Game Jam. We wanted to do like a Nuclear Throne kind of game. We really, we were playing a lot of Nuclear Throne back then.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to make a game like that. And that was the idea behind Space Jimmy, which was the precursor of Relic Hunters Zero. But when we actually started to work on the game after the Game Jam, I was interested in bringing my own influences of first-person shooters because I'm a big first-person shooter guy. I used to be a professional Counter-Strike player when I was a kid. I played a lot of Quake. I started my competitive games with Quake World. I was really into first-person shooters. I played a lot of Halo. So I really wanted to make a first-person shooter at some point in my career.
Mm-hmm.
And with Relic Hunters Zero, I was trying to get, okay, how can I translate my knowledge of like first-person shooter game design to a top-down shooter?
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of elements of Doom, but especially of Halo, in the design of Relic Hunters Zero.
Right. I think the fact that you kind of have all these elements incorporated into like one digestible game that you didn't even intend for the public is kind of you know, insane, you know?
Like I said, it's just raw creative energy. It was just like raw. I think this is cool, so this is getting into the game. No filters, you know. And that was kind of the process there.
I'm a huge fan of that. And people are talking about Smash TV. I remember Smash TV back in the day. It was one of my first games I've owned on the Sega Genesis, where, you know, the iconic, you know,
Total Carnage, I love it!
You know, I was a fan of that. I got so hyped up as a kid. Also got my console taken away on multiple occasions. But I remember that kind of got me into, like, that introduced me into the world of roguelikes. And another game too that I can't really remember, but he says "Beware I Live." If someone can remember that reference, that is old. That's another super old game. Yeah. So, okay, speaking of which, what games really inspired you when you were growing up, Mark?
Oh, well,
like in general, and then we can bring it into this.
Yeah, of course. I feel if I had to choose like 3 games that were most inspiring to me, it's definitely Diablo. That was a game that definitely captured my imagination. As a kid, and never let go. I'm still a super huge Diablo nerd to this day.
Goodness.
Also, I would say first-person shooters in general, especially Counter-Strike and Halo. Doom for sure. I played hundreds of hours of Doom 1 and 2, and the sequels as well.
Right.
I cannot Quake, right? Quake for me is like a true sequel for Doom 2. It's a completely different game, of course, but took in a new direction that I loved. So I think this huge blob of first-person shooters would be my second pick for sure, growing up. And the third was Mario games, especially Super Mario Bros. 3 on the NES. I think that was the first time that I kind of marveled at something as a work of art. I remember as a little kid when Mario defeats the first boss on the flying ship, and the scepter comes flying down. There's a little music. It is scrolling down. He picks it up, and everything stops. And then there's like a hopeful music, and it's celebration, and everybody's like, "Hey, thank you, Mario." Yada yada.
Yep.
And I remember this like 8-year-old me just looking at that with my jaw open, you know. Like, this is magical. Like,
Isn't it?
This is special, you know. And I think it was probably the first time I can remember that I experienced like awe, you know, at something. And it really like got into my imagination for sure, and definitely inspired my whole career.
That's so heartwarming to hear, because I remember like just stealing my aunt's Super Nintendo and just playing the heck out of Super Mario World, and going off on like having those little moments where, you know, you've defeated the enemy and now you get to just take in the miniature cinematic that wasn't even 3D, right? It was all in game. And you're just like, I did something with my life. I'm amazing. Right? It is amazing. Wait, you're all a few years younger than me. When you hit 40, it's all downhill from there. I anticipated just going uphill. You know, I'm 31, and I'm like, I don't feel like a child. I feel like a child, I should say. I still feel like a kid, but like a responsible kid that I have to do work and make sure I hit deadlines and stuff. Right? Y'all are beautiful. Don't matter. Sinistar. Right? Because you grow up, right? We grow, quote unquote, old. But here, if you keep that young, it doesn't matter. You live a lot longer. You're so much happier. I love that. And that's great. I could be your dad. Growing old is required. Growing up is optional. 100% true. 100% true. So tell me, one thing I remember, right, kind of growing up, was having the newest systems come out and watching it change from this landscape of, you know, 2D, simple, you know, simplistic approach to video games, where I found it's a lot harder, right? Where you have to be like very accurate in your platforming to, you know, getting a lot more chances, and it got a little bit more relaxed. You know what I mean? Where, you know, there's continues, there's zones where you can, you know, if you die, you can just come back. That the time of the checkpoints, how did that affect you? And did you find that it made you, do you feel like we're kind of spoiled now? A little bit, and you wanted to bring it back?
I think that's evolution. I think that's evolution of design for sure. It's because there's a thing about design that normally, something my usability UX teacher also always used to tell me was that usability is familiarity, right?
Right.
So it turns out that innovating in design of anything, not only like furniture, but also video games.
Yes.
It's something that it's very costly because people are not really accepting to things that are too different from what they're used to. So change is always gradual, right? And there's a lot of rhymes. There's a lot of repeating things that are being done right now. So that's why I think game design being like global culture, right? Video game is one of the first examples of something that the entire world was playing Mario. They were not playing like very different versions of Mario. So that's global culture, right? So I think that it has evolved in a certain direction. So for example, way back then, they had some similar problems that we have today. For example, we're selling like a $60 Super Nintendo game. People cannot buy it and just be done with it in like one day because they're paying like a lot of money for this game.
Right.
So this is a problem still today, right? But the way that they solved it back then was, let's make it super hard.
That's right.
So people are gonna take a long time to master it, and it worked back then, especially because there were so fewer games, and games are so special. When we were kids, like there was that game for the whole week, sometimes for the whole month, right? Or sometimes for the whole year. That's the game you had to play, right? In Brazil, we never bought games because they were prohibitively expensive to us.
Right.
And on that era of Super Nintendo and stuff like that, piracy was not really an option because cartridges and stuff like that was really expensive anyway. So what we did was we had this whole culture of rentals, right? So you would rent for like $2 a game for a weekend. So that was the only game I had. Like I didn't have any games that I owned. So I only rented games, and that was the only game I had to play. So not only it had to entertain me for many, many hours, but also if it was kicking my ass, I would not just switch to a game that was more immediately fun, right?
Right.
Because, so that's something that changed, and I think it changed for the better, honestly. Like, people like to romanticize how difficult these old games were. I feel like we have games that are much more interestingly, English is so hard sometimes, interestingly difficult these
You're doing
days
great, man.
than we had back then. Yeah, so that's, I think that we have much harder games now than we did, a lot more hard games. They're much harder in much more interesting ways than we had way back then.
Right.
So, yeah, people are just romanticizing it, I guess. It's just that we have more different games from more different people.
True. I agree. And you guys brought up renting. Like, I remember, you know, one of the things I look forward to, right, was going to my local Blockbuster, right? And saying, hi, I'd like to rent X, Y, and Z game for a bit. And definitely getting, you know, a few games under my belt, playing it, and then trying to master it. One game in particular was called Vector Man. Vector Man for the Sega Genesis. I don't know if you remember that. You know. I
don't think I played that because
I'm gonna get it for you.
Yeah, I never played that. I didn't actually have a Super Nintendo. My neighbor had a Super Nintendo, so that's what I played. And I never had a Sega Genesis. I only played Genesis games many years after in emulators, stuff like that.
Got it. And I mean, one of the things that even, you know, growing up and playing Streets of Rage and such, this game brings me back to like that difficulty where, you know, you're just not hand-holding. You're like, no. The only hand-holding, right? The only hand-holding I'm going to give you is the fact that if you play this game enough, you'll be able to unlock specific items, and then we'll let you, use a more powerful weapon at level 1. You know what I mean? Like, that was cool, but was that always in, or did you decide like, oh wow, this is kind of hard, here's the way to do it? Like, how did that system come about?
That was always in. That was always in, and that's also a philosophy that evolved over time of making the game more and more accessible. So Relic Hunters Zero was always brutal. It was always really hard because, like I said, I made it for me. I'm pretty good at shooter games. So something that I thought was interesting was painfully hard for most people playing the game for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was
cheeky.
of course aware of that. Yeah, I was aware of that. So I made the relics as a way to make the game easier over time. The looter / Diablo influence there a little bit.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You could either be good and do it with no checkpoints and no whatever. And there's actually achievements for that if you want to do it. But you can just grind your way. Yeah, you can just grind your way to it. And I think this is really nice. I really like progression systems and RPG systems. Like I said, Diablo 2 is for me the best game ever made. It's my favorite game of all time. I love these kinds of games, and I think these days every single game has a progression system, and usually not for the right reasons. It's such a I think they need that as a retention system, and I don't think that's what I like about progression systems. I don't like the kind of hamster on a wheel kind of design, right?
Yeah.
I really think like the thing I love about Diablo 2 is the customization, is the decisions that you have to make about your items,
Yes.
the builds that you can create, the synergy between stuff, and the feeling of collecting and building stuff, but that also like that have purpose, right? You're collecting and building useful things and using that. It's like Magic the Gathering, right? It's like you're collecting these cards, but you're actually trying to find interesting combinations with them and creating new and interesting gameplay with them. So that's what I like about these games. So that's what we tried to do a little bit in Relic Hunters Zero, because it's a very simple game, and that's definitely what we're trying to do with Relic Hunters Legend.
And I have to give you like just all the high fives and low fives. This is like a fantastic game. Oh my goodness, time is flying by. Like I would have to say what I really enjoy is the fact that this game is cute, fun, and like again accessible. And now that it's on the Switch, you can take it literally everywhere.
Yes. And it can be really easy if you want to. Like anybody can play it. So you can turn on auto aim on the options menu. You can play on the beginner difficulty in every single game mode. And you can just have a blast. You can play this with your little kids. You can do whatever you want. And if you're really hardcore shooter roguelike fan, there's some really challenging stuff in there. If you put on the higher difficulty, on storm game mode, stuff like that, it's really gonna kick your ass. So I think there's something for everyone there for sure.
So in your mind, when you were coming up with the whole concept of this new interesting game mode, when you were trying to add game modes to just add a little bit more content to the game, how did that conversation go with the team, like when it first popped into your head, kind of start to finish?
Same thing as always. Is like, is this cool? It's going into the game. That was it. And for the entire development of Relic Hunters Zero, there was no team. It was just me and Beto, right?
Right.
So it was just Beto would draw something cool and say, I want this in the game. I'd say, okay, let's put it in the game. And I wanted something done. I either did it, or if I needed art, I would say, Beto, I'm doing this. Can you do the art? And say, sure. And he did it. So there was no filter. And for example, Storm mode was just I was playing a lot of Risk of Rain.
Right.
I was playing so much Risk of Rain. And I would say, man, that would fit really well with Relic Hunters Zero.
Right.
I could do like a Risk of Rain mode in Relic Hunters Zero, and that would be super fun. And I tested it out. I prototyped it really quickly in like a day. And it was so fun. I was like, cool, this is a game mode. I'm going to call it Storm because, rain, storm.
Yeah.
I'm subtle like that.
Yeah, totally. I was just like, this kind of reminds me of Risk of Rain, but I'm not gonna say anything because it is brilliant, it's cutting edge, and it's Mark Venturelli, okay? And then you came back. I remember trying it out on stream once, and you're just like, and you flat out said it. I was like, well, he said it, ladies and gentlemen, not me. Like, there's no hiding it now.
It's basically Risk of Rain. That's what it is.
I just got the steel melody on Panzer. This is gonna be dope. Like, so, again, can you talk a little bit more about the weapons that, people submitted to? Like, there's community-made weapons in this game, is it not?
Yeah, there's a lot. So that was also something that surprised me. People were, because the game was open source on PC, is open source on PC. So anybody who has a little bit of a coding background could pick up the code. They can use it for study. They can create new games with it if they want to, and they can also make mods and stuff like that.
Right.
And early on, in the old times before Discord, we had forums.
Yeah, I remember those.
People in forums, they would make like pretty cool mods, but it was always really painful to install them because you had to actually get the source code and integrate it into your source code and compile them. If you wanted to combine different mods together, you need to manually combine code from everybody and make like a new build and compile a new build of the game.
Yep.
There was no mod system, right? It was just people taking the code and modifying the code on the fly. So we decided to do actual mod support with Steam Workshop for weapons, right? Because weapons were very easy to add. Anybody could do it pretty much.
Right.
In fact, there's tutorial online is like less than an hour of me just teaching you from like no programming background to actually doing a weapon and putting it in the game live on Steam. So I think that's something that we did. It was pretty fun. I expected like the 2 or 3 people who were pestering me about it on then new Discord community to use it, and nobody else. And then on release day of this feature, there were like over 100 weapons on the Steam Workshop on the first day, and I was like, holy crap, people are actually making guns for the game. And there's like hundreds and hundreds of guns on Steam Workshop. Most of them are kind of cringe, of course, but there's so many brilliant guns in there. There's some like really, really talented people making really cool guns. And we wanted to take some of the best ones, and we asked for permission, of course. We told the creators, hey, could you give this gun to us to put on the Switch version? And they said yes, and it was super cool for us to kind of give that love back to the modding community and recognizing the amazing work that they put into the game.
That's sweet, man. And I think that's the big thing. Like, one thing that really makes a game, like, it sets it apart, is the fact that you have an alive and a very excited community, right? And with, obviously you're mishmashing a variety of them, including, a lot of these different game types and game modes. It's kind of perfect. You know what I mean? You guys have such a great thing going here, and really excited to, continue to see the progress going forward. And before we run, I wanted you to kind of talk about, I want you to talk about this mode I'm in. So, obviously, it's really Risk of Rain, but you see me, like, killing all these enemies. What is the premise? If you were to give someone a rundown of what I'm doing right now, what would it be?
Okay, so Storm mode is kind of Relic Hunters Zero going crazy. It's like every dial turned up to 11. So it's a really fast game mode. You progress really quickly. So it's meant to last 15 minutes tops playthrough of this mode. And it's just crazy madness. You're just starting this open map. There are 10 chests scattered around. And enemies are constantly respawning. And as you play, the game gets more difficult, like over time. So you're spawning more enemies, the enemies are more dangerous, they're doing more damage, stuff like that. But at the same time, as you kill enemies, you get money, the bounty, the little stars there. and you use that to open the chests.
Yes.
So you start to become really powerful really quickly. So everything is just super crazy. Like you start weak, but the enemies are weak as well. And then you start growing strong super fast. You become like a god. But then there's like hundreds of enemies shooting thousands of bullets at you. And it's just crazy fun. There's new bosses there. Every stage has a boss. And if you beat the fourth boss, it's over. So it's a very quick game mode. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's what I really appreciate, about this game, is the fact, you have a variety of ways to enjoy this game. Yo, Solar Pupper, how you doing? Recursive Butts just for you? I picked Ace. Like, Ace is
how's it going?
fantastic. I got my haircut. What? Oh my gosh. Mark, how are you holding up with, being on lockdown? You doing okay, pal?
I'm doing okay. My wife cut my hair last weekend.
Oh.
I think it turned out pretty fine.
I mean, that's what you're supposed to say.
Yeah.
Honey, you messed up.
It had to happen. It just had to happen. It was my hair was already on a shameful state.
Yeah, my hair is getting ridiculously long, and I'm kind of like figuring this out. By the way, this is endless mode, so as I progress through the levels, there's various modifiers being applied to the enemies to make them more and more difficult to deal with. Haircut, what is that? I remember getting something like that back in the day. I remember that too.
Back when we had forums.
Yeah, back when we had forums. Back in my day. I remember.
Back in my day.
That was a good Deckard Cain voice. Cause
Hammer. Diablo is coming.
Stay a while and listen.
Stay a while and listen.
Do you miss Deckard Cain? As a big character. I remember CompuServe.
He was never a big character. I don't think Diablo has big characters. Like I think Diablo is like Relic Hunters Zero in a sense. Like they certainly never intended for it to be like a gigantic universe with a massive lore and stuff like that, right? So that's very clear from Diablo 1. Diablo 2 has a lot more lore and stuff like that.
Right.
Actual characters. But Diablo 1 is it's a lot like Relic Hunters Zero, I guess, in a sense. Like it's just arcadey. It's a different kind of ambition, and I respect it very much for it, for sure.
I kind of like what someone said. Soul of the Pupper is like, Bane is just Deckard Cain into a phone cup. Can you imagine him at a restaurant ordering like a meal, Soul the Pupper? Yes, can I have a... I'm allergic to cheese. I would love to see someone do that. So I think some closing thoughts. What would you say is in the future, right, for Rogue Snail right now that you want to talk about and address to everyone, and kind of what's going on? What's going on in your life, man?
Well, the most important thing is that we have a game out on the Switch right now, which is pretty awesome.
Yes,
definitely gonna play a lot of that an experience. Also, we have a lot of stuff going on with Relic Hunters Universe as a whole. So we're working on new animation, new cartoon animation with Copa Studio, the same guys who did the original Relic Hunters animation for the Kickstarter.
Right.
We have new comics coming up. We have 30 new pages of comics done already that we're going to release soon. We have 60 more pages of comics coming soon, maybe this year. We also have Relic Hunters Rebels coming out this year. A brand new Relic Hunters game coming exclusively to mobile, Android, and iOS. It's going to be a super fun game. It has a lot in common with Relic Hunters Zero, but it's a very, very different game. It's much more focused on collection and progression systems and stuff like that. It has pretty much zero mobile bullshit in it. I think it's a pretty good game. It's a game that we could release on the Switch. It just happens to be on mobile. I think this is really cool. It's not like a bullshit mobile game at all.
Right.
And we got, of course, Relic Hunters Legend, which we have extremely exciting news to share for Relic Hunters Legend, but we cannot share them at this point in time. It's something that we have discussed with our community in our private Discord, with our backers and our founders. They know what's going on. We asked them if they were okay with it. It's probably gonna delay the game a little bit more, so it's already a meme at this point how much we have delayed Relic Hunters Legend. But it's for a really good reason. I think it's gonna be so exciting and so awesome, just gonna blow everybody away.
Oh, come on. Well, you know what? Now I'm like excited, right? Like the fact that you guys are doing so much, you have so much going on this year alone. You know what I mean? I think I can only be nothing less than excited for you, right? You guys have really,
Thank you.
yeah, no, you seriously, like, all you guys did was consistently push the bar, and now we have this awesome game, ladies and gentlemen, to enjoy. The Relic Hunters, Relic Hunters Zero Remix is presently on the Nintendo Store. And, guys, telling you this right now, on the Switch, you can pre-purchase it, or purchase it right now at a discount. It is so ready, so there, and
Grab it while it's hot.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And I low-key was like, I called my friend up. I'm like this. Hey. He goes, yeah. I'm like, you have a Switch? He goes, yeah. I'm like this. You're buying this game. He goes, what? I'm like, buy it? No. He goes, okay. And then he calls me back. He goes, this is fun. Like, it's so amazing to be able to tell somebody and expose them to a game. And then for it to be like from concept to like, hey, we should have this game on the Switch, to now me looking. I'm gonna show you this right now, guys, and tell me if this does, if you don't agree with this sentiment, right? For us talking about it, and then me being able to go to the Nintendo store and seeing it, you have your own flipping page. You have it there. You got screenshots. I almost cried. I was just like, look at him. He's there. Look, this is you. This is all you guys. This is yours, right? Your own little space on the Nintendo store. You guys deserve this. And ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are interested and you want to stay like connected with these guys, you want to be like, connected with these guys, please do me a favor. First of all, you get to talk with Mark. Mark is in the Discord, so please join him on Discord.
Yeah, we're there every day.
Yeah, go ahead and throw up some links. Play Relic Hunters, you can. Please, please, please. And Mark, you're active Twitter user yourself. I'm sure you love it. If I were you, if you had a chance, okay, would you say that Twitter is the best way to stay like up to date with all your stuff, or is it like an Instagram account? Like, what is your favorite social media platform to go with?
Well, these days I would say pretty much any of them, because we have Lucy taking care of it.
Lucy!
And she, I think, is just doing a really good job posting on the different platforms and having the contents fit each platform. So you can definitely go and follow us on your platform of choice, whether it's Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or Discord. Just come and join us.
Yeah, like Lucy, fantastic. I was so excited to be able to kind of work with you guys, from the beginning of this project to, to the launch, and you guys have been nothing less than, stellar. And I feel so honored to be able to work with you guys. And the one thing I wanted to reveal to you all is another thing is we're not only, actively, engage in the community as a collective, Akupara and Relic Hunters. Something for you to consider and think about is, by the way, times are tough. Wouldn't you say, Mark? Like, we're all like stuck in this, like, we're stuck at home. We're like, we want some more entertainment, and these games coming out are fantastic. And I would have to say one thing, right? And I want you guys to realize this. We're doing a giveaway of both a Nintendo Switch Lite and the game right now. Did you guys know that? if you guys didn't know that, I'm expecting some PogChamps and gasps, right? Go ahead and retweet, follow, and like the post, and we're gonna be picking a winner, by the end of the week. I'm just saying, it's kind of dope. I actually knew that, but did you like, follow, and retweet so you could be considered in the running? I'm just saying. Mark Venturelli is just like, some guy is like pretending to be you. Do we need to check him out? Check him out the door. But Mark, I just want to say, like, bottom of my heart, man, thank you so much for bringing us Relic Hunters. We got to learn where it came from, and it sounded like it just came from passion and love, and now it's out there for the world to see with cartoons. Then what? Next step, Cartoon Network. Let's go. Right? I'm
Knows?
really thankful to actually see that grow, and I'm wishing you, me personally as Richard, wishing you continued success and more stuff to come. I can't wait to see how Legends turns out and is turning out, because it is fantastic, high octane action, and the whole graphically the whole thing has changed. It's guys, just imagine Destiny 2, but like, the animations are completely different and attractive, and I'm excited to see that just continue to explode. So, like, really and truly, on behalf of Akupara Games and our community and yours, man, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and I would like to extend the thanks to you guys at Akupara. You did an excellent job before, baby. We trusted you from the beginning to do a great job, and you did. And you're now part of that. Like, you're now part of the Relic Hunters family for sure. Whatever this goes in the future, there's a little bit of you guys in there forever.
Oh my gosh. Oh, like, thank you. And again, make sure you follow these guys on all their social medias. Take care of them. And if you guys are from Akupara, just jump on over and tell them how much you love them and you're there to support them. That'd be fantastic, from your moose homie to another. If you guys want to follow us and jump on our socials, please, by all means, Discord, GG, Akupara Games. And like, yeah, dude, Soul the Pupper, they just killed it. Wait till you see it on your system. It'll blow your mind grapes. It is so great. Couch co-op too, so bring a friend over, or maybe wait a bit, but you know what I mean. It's fantastic. Play with your family that's already at home. It's fun. It's great. It's cute, and it has everything you'll ever need in a video game. But Mark, is there any closing statements before I send these guys off and we say hello to somebody?
Well, it's just now extending the thank you as always to our community. I guess that every single time that we bring Relic Hunters to a new level, like this week, where now we have it on a Nintendo platform, I feel like everything that happens in the past and will happen in the future of Relic Hunters is because of our amazing community, their support from day one, and our Kickstarter backers and our founders who are actually financially supporting us. Like, these are the people who will always be in our hearts, and we'll always thank you. And you always can be proud of being a part of building this with us.
And dude, we're truly honored, and thank you guys again. That's Mark Venturelli from Rogue Snail. Make sure you guys follow him, check him out, and I'm just gonna say thank you for joining us today. We appreciate every single one of your faces, and on behalf of Akupara Games and the Relic Hunters crew, we just want to say we love you, we appreciate you, and we'll see you again very soon. Okay, the idea is the goal is for next week, but we want to make sure we have something extra special planned, and we will let you guys know. But that's how we're going to end, because if you guys are on our socials and our Discord, you guys will get up to the minute facts of when things are going down.
Be the first ones to know.
So, thank you guys again. I'm AnimatedBreak. You call me Richard or Moose. And I want to say thank you. Have yourself a wonderful day. So long, farewell, and, of course, make it a fantastic and safe weekend. Bye-bye now, And cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Say bye. Everyone say bye. Bye. We love you. And